Close my curtain. There we go. So hello everybody. I see we have a new face today, Miss Dixie Elliott. Is this your first time joining us?
Yes, it is.
Okay, well, wonderful. Welcome to our party.
Thanks.
So pretty much we do this every Friday with some exceptions if I have other things going on, but we alternate. Like this week is noon, next week will be 10 a.m. and then noon 10, noon 10. We kind of flip flop every week. Mostly it's a just come and ask questions kind of thing. Sometimes I'll provide like an actual training topic, but usually it's just kind of a free for all. So if you have any specific questions, or if you just want to sit back and listen to other people and figure out what your questions are based off of their questions, we're just here to have fun and learn. So let's see, Kimberly just joined us. So I don't really have a topic this week. I know that I'm going to go through the Facebook group and kind of, there was a few questions that were recently added to the group, so I'll kind of cover those, but somebody just popped a question. Jeannie says, quick question with WP forms, who do you use to keep up with the email data to send emails later? I don't actually use WP forms, any type of contact form. I just don't really like them. They're subject to spam signups and all kinds of stuff. So if you're wanting it specifically for building your email list, just use the forms that your email service provider can give you. Like if you use ConvertKit or MailerLite, you can create forms in that and then just embed them on your site. It's just a much simpler process. Plus it's one less plugin that you have to deal with. Okay. All right, well, anybody have any specific questions to get us started, or else I'll find a rabbit hole to get us into. Sorry, just my chair here. Okay. Joyce, you always have something for me.
Well, I do have a question about my domain name. And
yes.
Will it be hard for me to change that E to
an A? Well, you would first need to see if it's available. Mm-hmm. And if it is, it's really not hard. I mean, your blog is still fairly new. And so you would buy the new domain and then you would contact you're with SiteGround, right? Is SiteGround your host? I think she froze. Anyway, if SiteGround's your host or whoever your host is, you would just contact them like you buy the domain through their domain buyer and then just say, hey, I purchased this new domain. I want to redirect everything from my current one to this one. And then they would kind of walk you through the steps to do that.
Okay.
I mean, your site is still new enough that, I mean, you're not really ranking for anything yet. So it's now would be the time to do it if you're going to do it.
Okay.
Okay. Let me go over to the Facebook group and see what questions we have there. So I'm just going to open this up here. Okay. So Sydney had posted this morning. She was having issues. So she has a freebie that she gives when someone subscribes. But what she was doing is uploading the freebie, the actual file, to her media library and then using the link that the media library gives you. Oh my gosh, these dogs are so loud. So when you upload an image to your media library, like when you're adding images to blog posts or whatever, each image is actually given a URL. Right here, file URL, which is your website.com, WP content upload. This really only works inside your website. I mean, shared, if you share this link outside your website, a lot of times it doesn't work. So the images that you're literally putting in the post, like your featured image, if you put your pinnable image, if you have an actual printable image that needs to display. But if you're giving them files like PDFs and things like that, it's better to house those in your cloud drive so that they can download it. So, I mean, you upload the image to the post, they can save it as a pin image, and sometimes they can right click and save it to their computer. But what you want to do instead, mostly to save space, especially if it's multiple images, multiple files that you're giving them. So let's see, I was giving them, I uploaded JPEG, always upload JPEGs into your blog post, never upload PNGs. But let's say it was, oh, I don't know, a Lord's Prayer printable here. And I want to give it to them and they can download it. Maybe I made maybe I made it a JPEG file and a PDF file, especially if it's like a worksheet or something. So in the actual post, this is not the Lord's Prayer, but so here's the uploaded picture. This is a JPEG picture. And then here in the, right under it where you can add what do you call it? You can add text right here. This, it says download this printable May Bible reading plan. And so this actually goes to a different one. This one here. It goes to my Google Drive. So when they click on that, it opens up and they can download anything in this folder. Now, this particular instance, there's multiple files that they would want. So it's the worksheet, the journal page, and everything. But if it was just a single file, then it would maybe open up like, and it would look like that. And then they would just hit the download button. So one, don't upload the stuff to your media library and use the media library's URL for the image. Don't do that. Instead, whatever printable files you're giving them, whether it's JPEG, PNG, or PDF, save them to a Google file. And then when, whatever the file is, if it's a single file, you just, so this is a PDF, you right click, get link. Make sure it says anyone with link, otherwise just click that. Sometimes it says restricted, so make sure it says anyone with link, and then hit copy, and that is what you would put in this, in here for them to click this link, and then it will open up whatever image file that you gave them. In this case, it would open up this PDF. My dogs are so loud. The other thing is, okay, so the URL in the media library doesn't always work, but the other thing is too, if you're giving like a lot of printables, and you know, that's a lot of image files to be adding to your media library. Everything you add to your media library is, so your server, you know, like on a computer, when you buy a computer, it has only so much storage space, or like your phone might have 64 gigabytes of storage space. And if you're like a picture taking crazy person like I am, you can easily run out. It's like, you can't take no more pictures, delete some pictures before you can add more, right? There's only so much storage space. Your server for your website acts in the same way. When you first launch your website, you only have so much server capacity especially if you're on like a basic plan. Now, if you have a higher paid plan, you'll have a little more. And so everything you put on your website, every plugin, every new blog post takes a little bit more space, And so image files specifically are larger files than text files. And so you don't want to, you're going to have images anyway, because like we put images on our websites. So if you're giving away a lot of printables on top of the normal images you put in your site, you don't want to weigh down your server and take up all that server space with those images. And so housing them offsite in your cloud drive is just a better way to do it. Okay. Let me see. Just scrolling through these questions. They were all pretty basic. Okay. All right. Anybody else have any specific questions this week?
Well, I'm just new to your site and to your group. And so I like the fact that you're talking about laying good foundations. And I'm wondering, as a newbie to the group, what you would suggest I do next.
So where are you at exactly? I mean, like in your blogging.
Yeah, I have been blogging for about 6 years. I have mostly just organic traffic. I never really aspired to a huge group of followers, but I feel like I have a fairly good message and I'm getting some good traction, and I'm feeling like I need to do more to expand my reach. And if you start to do any research, you could just follow those rabbit trails that you were talking about and follow and do, you need to do Facebook Live. So you need to have a Facebook group. You need to do all those things. And so I just find it a little overwhelming. So I think that you're just the right person to talk to.
Well, great. What is your website? Let me start there.
Okay. It's called littlestepstohealth.com. Little changes for your body, mind, and spirit. And I focus on no diet, no program, and that it's little steps that we can all do to be healthy and well, especially if you're tired of the diet and you're tired of programs and you're tired of failing and you just want somebody else who's struggling. I've had some success in that area, and so I'm sharing what I do and sharing research that I've found interesting and that I think other people who are struggling might find interesting too.
Okay, so first and foremost, you mentioned that you're starting to get organic traffic. By organic traffic, what are you referring to? Like, where are you seeing the traffic coming from?
Mostly from Facebook.
Okay, so there's different types of traffic. There's organic traffic is traffic that comes from, okay, so there's social media and there's there's websites, right?
Okay.
Websites are found when people go to search engines such as Google, Yahoo, Bing, and they Google something. We say Google, even though they're in Yahoo or Bing, that's the word we use now. When you Google something, right? Okay. They find your website. So we consider that organic. In other words, they find you naturally because they were looking for something that your site answered their search query. So when it comes to like Facebook, Twitter, any of the social media channels, yes, there's organicness within their algorithm, but we don't really consider that organic because Facebook is not a place that people typically go to search for things. They follow pages, and if it's in the feed, they see it. And a lot of what works in Facebook is kind of what we call like the magazine kind of captions or titles, things that stick out to us and we just have to click on it and read it, or we have to open it, like when you're in the checkout lane at the grocery store and all those magazines are there and you're like, what, Princess Diana, she's alive, oh my gosh, right? Like we see it and it's like clickbait for us, but we wouldn't go to Google and say, is Princess Diana still alive, right? So that's the difference. The importance of organic search is that, well, social media is flimsy. I mean, we see a lot of, right now it's being impacted by politics and everything else, but at the end of the day, social media is a place for, it's not a search place. Yes, people search for groups to follow and things like that, but they don't go specifically looking for content. And so even if you have an active page, the algorithm, the people that follow your page may not always see the post that you make there. And so the way that you get traffic, say from Facebook, is, well, it changes from time to time, and they want you to pay for ads and things like that. So it's really important to focus on a foundation of organic traffic, which comes back to your website itself and its ability to rank in search results. Okay. And so just looking at your site now, you don't have that.
No, I know that. And when I said organic, I guess I meant I wasn't in Facebook.
Yeah.
The Facebook group I was following, that means I didn't use any ads. So that's what so your definition of organic is much different. Yes.
Yes. So I would say for you right now starting a blog or getting your blog to where it needs to be, really, number one, focusing your target audience, your avatar, which you pretty much have that. Mm-hmm. But from there, it's going into the research phase of figuring out how and what they are looking for as it applies to what you're trying to offer, right? And so there's a really great, it's not free, but it's really cheap. It's called Keywords Everywhere. And this is the one that we use. And I am not an affiliate for this. It's just a really cheap tool that does so much better than all the really expensive tools. Okay. And so it only works on a computer. It doesn't work on like your phone or tablet, but it's a browser extension. And so basically, as you start researching, so I'm just going to look at something here.
The iron rich trail mix one gets some attention.
So are you putting recipes, or it's just diet tips, or?
It's a little bit of everything for your body, mind, and spirit. So yeah.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. Like when I said a minute ago about like the titles, there's magazine titles, mm-hmm. organic search titles. What we open and read a magazine because we saw a title is more of a clickbait that resonates with us, but it's not something we literally go ask Google. And that's what you're looking for, right? Yeah. And so I'm just looking through here.
Yeah, I think my titles are more like the magazine titles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So if you're going to talk about dieting, well, I will tell you this first. It gets a little more difficult when you get into some, what we call YMYL, your money, your life, things that fall in line with health, finance, legal, things that you want the person to be a certified expert on, to be giving you advice according to Google, right? Mm-hmm. Google treats that type of content a little differently. If you're just doing like recipes and things like that, that's one thing, but offering like dieting advice or things like that, you run a fine line of Google seeing it as like medical advice, which they are cracking down on. Whether that's right or wrong is not a discussion that we should even have here because it's Google and they do whatever they want. But again, it's going to come back to you figuring out what your person is looking for. Are they looking for, like here you have smoothie bowl, right? Mm-hmm. So let's type that one, and that's an easy one. Smoothie bowl recipes. Well, this is going to have high search volume because this is like a very highly competitive. Recipes are highly competitive. I'll just tell you that off the door. Like you got to have like an all recipe all day kind of website because that's where the money is. And so there's a lot of blogs that focus solely on recipes and they sort of have a monopoly on it. But where I'm going with what are people searching for? So just in talking about smoothie bowl recipes, smoothie bowl recipes for weight loss, right? That's a specific search query that people are Googling, right? And so in some of the other content, the ideas, so you have struggles, God's power, recipes, and personal stories. So first and foremost, nobody Googles personal stories.
Okay.
You know, we want to create blogs sometimes to share our own journey and struggle. And there is a time for that. But focusing a lot of the content on the personal stuff, nobody is going to Google to say, how did Leanne lose weight last year? Right? People aren't Googling that. And so what they are Googling would be how to lose weight when you only have 30 minutes a day to exercise, or so, right? They're the very specific questions that people will literally go to that Google box and ask. And so that's where you need to be focused right now, is really aligning your categories here to be better aligned with.
Actually, it's more of a no diet, like it's anti-dieting, as in the no diet, no program. So I'm thinking that that's more of the people that I'm looking for, the people who are fed up with the diets and fed up with all the programs, and they don't want that anymore.
So in that, you will figure out how to, if they're not looking for diet advice, what are they asking Google?
Okay.
And that, again, for some people, that's a real easy answer. Like if you're a Bible study blogger, it's like how to study the Bible, right? It's simple. So in yours, it may take a little more effort to really dive in there and see what all things. Now I'm just gonna. Without dieting. And so you can start there. And I mean, that's a really high search volume to start off with, but looking for without dieting or exercise. As you see all these different things, as you dive in and then dive in further, all of these are also clickable and will give you more refined results for that specific query. Now, if you're adding a faith component to it, your mind, body, and spirit. Bible verses. Mind and body. I don't know. I'm just looking for things here. So nobody is searching for that, but body, soul, spirit Bible verses, how to make your mind, body, and spirit work together, right? These are more scriptural kind of things from a biblical perspective for that kind of category. What does the Bible say about weight loss? What healthy living would be kind of in that same. So it's not about dieting, it's about living healthy. And so that's kind of where, again, it's going to probably take you a little longer than others to find this information because it is a little more specific. But at the end of the day, these are the things that you should be writing about because these are the things people are Googling. And if they're Googling it, you have the chance like, oh, well, here's mine. This is a page on my site, 14 scriptures on healing the mind, body, and spirit. Right. So when somebody goes looking for this, which nobody's really looking for that, but let me see if it's on here. Yeah, I don't know. Scriptures for a healthy mind, whatever. Anyway, somebody goes and Googles this, your article, your blog post comes up in the search results. That's being found organically. Content, readable content, people find it via search engines like Google, Yahoo, Bing, there's like a whole bunch of new ones or whatever. And so if you're not writing about things that people are literally Googling, then nobody's ever going to find you. So at the end of the day, that's really what it comes down to. So that's where I would say your next steps would be is to get in here and do this research to figure out all the things you should be writing about.
Okay.
And this translates, so where I was mentioning about the personal stories and testimonies and things, people want that, but they don't look for it directly. And so when you get people looking for these other things coming to your site, and that traffic starts to build up, that's where you have like your email sign up forms and things like that. And that's where you get them to join your community, where you, in those weekly emails and things, are able to more share that personal side of things, right? So they're not actively looking for your personal story. They're looking for the more general, obvious things they need to help them. But when they find someone who is going through a similar thing, that's why they want to connect with them and stay connected via email and so forth. And that's where you're able to pour into them every week via those emails.
Okay, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. That gives me a totally different focus.
Good deal. All right, what does Jeannie say here? It's awesome. I use it all the time. I don't know what she's, oh, I guess she's talking about keywords everywhere. Okay. All right.
So how do you use the keywords?
So when you first install it, actually in our Facebook group, if you go to the guides at the top of the page, there is, well, there was, what did I do with it? Okay, I lied. It used to be here. I'll add it again. There'll be a tutorial here as soon as we're done that shows you, actually, let me do it right now so I don't forget. I thought I had posted it in here. It's to edit the settings when you install it. So you just type in keywords everywhere in Google and the website will come up. And keywords. Can I search in here? There we go. Okay. Helpful tutorials. It's important that you follow this tutorial to adjust the settings when you first install it, because when you install it, it's just going to be appear in your browser. So you get this right here that shows the volume of whatever it is you're searching. And then in the drop down, it'll give you approximate values as well. But then you get these little widgets here, related keywords people also search for, and long tail keywords. There's a whole bunch more widgets that will automatically be there at default. Everything that displays takes credits away. And so you want to turn off a bunch of stuff in the settings, which is just turning it off. And so the little video tells you which ones to turn off so that you're not being charged for a bunch of unnecessary stuff that'll deplete your credit. It's $10 for 100,000 credits. With as much as I use this thing, because I use it for my Friday chats, I use it for my website, I use it during my boot camp for my student. I'm just using it all the time. And half the time I forget to turn it off when I'm not working, which when you're not in blog mode, like you're done working for the day, turn it off. That way, if you come in here later to Google something for home, like buy dog food or something, that it doesn't take credits away. I always forget to do that. I have never had to refill this more than twice in 1 year. So that 100,000 credits will last you a very long time.
Thank you.
I love it.
Click out of all of this. Okay. Oh, did somebody else have a? Oh, yeah, she was saying keywords everywhere. Okay. Let me look back over here on the. A few people had asked about that Jarvis software, the conversion AI. I guess it's literally called Jarvis now. I could talk about that if y'all wanted to learn.
Oh, please, yes.
Conversion AI. Am I sharing? There we go. So this is a copyright assistant. It basically helps you take the guesswork out of your writing, especially if you're writing like how-tos. Remember, people are looking for information. They're not looking for your opinions, right? Like, so a blog post's job is to answer a search query. And I mean, you're going to add your personal perspective or piece to it, but still ultimately you have to satisfy their search query. Let me log in here. It takes a bit for you to get used to it because it's literally AI technology, artificial intelligence. And if y'all ever watch Iron Man from Marvel Comics, like he talked to Jarvis, was in the early Iron Man 1. Later on, like the Jarvis turned into Vision. And I know way too much about Marvel Comics, so we're not going to talk about that. But that's basically what this is. It's artificial. You tell it what you need and it gives it to you. So it takes you a little bit to learn how to speak to it for it to give you exactly what you're needing. But it can help you write out an entire blog post, not a final piece, but enough of a blueprint or a, template, if you will, that you can just go in and make some minor tweaks with some of your own, words and things like that. It helps you improve content that you already have. It can help you with outlines, the intro paragraphs and the conclusion paragraphs, which is often what I have the hardest time with. And so it just puts stuff together. So let's just say 5 ways to I don't know. I'm just going to put something in here. And it's going to give you 3 examples. And if you don't like those, you can take 3 more, or you can take bits and pieces of each one, right? Some of these can be used as your intro. I like to copy all of them onto a Word document as I'm doing this, and then maybe use some of these paragraphs later in the post. The importance of let's see. Give me a prayer title. If you have an outline already created for your post, which you shouldn't just start writing it off the top of your head. You should have an outline. That will help you go through this much quicker. I don't have an outline handy, or I'd go through one. So it's going to give you just different blocks. And again, you pull out what you need, adjust, maybe rearrange the paragraphs. Like I never saved this blog post. So I would take that sentence out. Apparently they just added a new feature that's really helpful for recipe bloggers. That was just released this week. But once you go into the actual documents, so it's like the first page you start, you say what the title is, and then it'll give you an intro paragraphs, and then it'll give you some, or even if you don't know what the title is, it'll say, what's this blog post about? You say, write a blog post about whatever. And then based on that, it'll give you some titles to choose from. And then you can have it give you some example opening paragraphs. And then you come over here into the editor, these things with the hashtags in front of it, that's just telling Jarvis that, hey, this is a new section. This is a heading. And so what you're about to write down here needs to be reflective of this, regardless of what's up here. And so anytime you're going to have a new heading, you do the double hashtags. And again, sometimes anytime that gives you a bunch of scripture in here, always check it, because I mean, it's just pulling stuff from wherever. So sometimes the actual scripture it cites isn't always correct. But I've been using this for, oh my gosh, I've been using it updating older content on my site. I've been using it when my writers send me their drafts. Sometimes some things they write don't really, everyone has their way of writing. And so it may be missing some really good closing paragraphs, or maybe the opening wasn't that good. So I've been using it to edit stuff on Kingdom Bloggers, but I also have 2 new sites that I have. One just launched and the other I'm in the process of launching. And so it's been helping me knock out, like, once you get the hang of how to speak to Jarvis, you can knock out content. So if you're someone who's really struggling, like time-wise, to get content done, this would definitely be helpful. But again, you have to understand it's only helpful if you know what you're doing. And when I say know what you're doing, that you understand blogs aren't about your opinion, you just sharing with the world what you think about stuff, which is what we all thought when we got into blogging. I'm just going to share. My very first blog was called My Veteran Woman. It was because I'm a veteran and I got out of the military and I thought, I'm going to write about being a female veteran because people want to know. Nobody cared, right? I was just writing about all my struggles. Nobody cared. Nobody was looking for that stuff. So of course that didn't go anywhere. So understand that content is meant to satisfy someone's search query. And then when you learn that part of it, and you learn what search queries are being asked of Google, and use that to come in here and do long form content, this tool is super helpful. I have 2 women in my mastermind. They write for other sites. They're like freelance writers, I guess is what they call it. And they use it to knock out the content in addition to their own blogs. And they said they are just loving it. I've been very pleased with it. Again, when you first start using it, you may get a little frustrated because it's not giving you what you need, but you just have to learn, like you always have. If you've ever worked in an office and you were a supervisor, you have 5 employees, 4 of them take your instruction and they go with it. And that one just somehow doesn't understand what you're saying. And so you have to explain it to that person a little differently. It's that same concept. You and Jarvis have to learn each other, basically, for it to give you exactly what you're looking for. But once you figure it out, then it's just like, hey, Jarvis, do this for me, and it starts spitting out stuff. So I don't recommend it for someone just getting started because you got a lot of other stuff you should be figuring out, and the money you spend should go into that foundational stuff. But once you have like your content plan for the year, once you know your target audience, know what you're supposed to be writing, know how to write a blog post correctly, this is definitely a tool that is, I would say, worth the expense for you to really pump out that content. And again, if you ever wanted to do freelance writing for stuff that you literally know nothing about, this thing will help you to be able to do that. I mean, I could come in here and probably write some really great blog contents on how to work on a vehicle. Like Jarvis can do that. As long as you're giving Jarvis the right cues, it will give you the information. And it's almost spot on. Very few times with scripture, like I said, a few times it'll cite the wrong verse when it's talking about something. But generally speaking, it's a very solid tool. It also can help you with like if you do ads, which I don't do ads at all, but if you do, it'll help you with the ad copyright. If you sell products, like you have Amazon products that you sell, how to do the Amazon listing. It's got a lot of different features. I don't use any of them. I just use it for the writing part. But Jeannie, yes, I am an affiliate. If you scroll up all the way to the top of the chat feed, there's actually the very first link is my affiliate link. And I can share it in the Facebook group too when we're done here. Any questions about it?
Are you going to do in the future a tutorial on it?
Yeah. I had sat down a few times to try to do one on just a general blog post idea. And whatever happens, I somehow get distracted because I'm usually, somebody reminds me that they would like it, and then I'll sit down and it's not planned. Like usually if I plan to do videos one day, they get done. But if I'm just sort of winging it, and that's what's happened. So I just need to sit down and actually do a tutorial. But on their, let me find it, hold on. Boss mode. Oh, and just FYI, so when you, let me show you really quick. So they have this new feature called boss mode. So I'm going to go to pricing and tell you, the starter will not help you. The starter does not enable you to do long form content. Starter is really for like ads, social media posts, things like that. So what you're able to write in a specific template is very limited word-wise. So you do need this version. The cool thing is they give you a 7 days. So if you just want to try it out for 7 days, get in there, play around with it, see if it works for you, or if you're just like, I don't have time to figure this out, then cancel it before the 7 days and they'll give you the money back. Don't do the boss mode. I got to do the boss mode. I have boss mode, but because I was grandfathered in from when they first launched Jarvis before they added boss mode, so I got it for free. Mm-hmm. And I tried it out and I'm like, I totally probably would not pay the extra $10 a month for this. Just what it does, I at this point have not seen the extra benefit for that $10. So just the pro is really all that you need, which is this middle one. One user. Unlimited projects. Long form. Yeah. Again, I mean, you can totally do it and try it if you want, but I would say that this one is really all you need. That extra $10. There's other things I could spend that $10 on that'll probably be more helpful. But here on their website, they do have some videos that you can watch that kind of show you like how to use. There's also, there's certain commands, like, you know, how I had the double hashtags for headings. So there's double hashtags, there's 3 asterisks that say this is an entirely new site. So it has like a cheat sheet of the codes, short codes or whatever you want to call them to use. So it actually does give you a lot of training once you get in there to help you learn how to utilize it. But yeah, eventually I will get around to actually making a short video on writing a single post. Okay, any other questions about that? Let me see. Okay. All right, what else? What else do y'all have for me this week?
I have a question.
Yes.
When you were talking earlier about putting printables into your webs or into a blog post, I see on Canva where it says gives me a choice of a PDF print or a PDF standard. The print is supposed to be high quality. Does either one of those matter?
I usually go with the high quality one because, again, that's not really being uploaded into your media library. You should be saving that to your cloud drive. It's just a higher quality visual. Yeah, that's the one I usually do. But you want to, whatever it is, the first page of it or whatever, save those as JPEG files so you can actually upload the visual onto the page, right?
Okay, I just figured that out the other day.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah.
So I always save it twice. Save it as the JPEGs and then save it as the PDF. And the JPEGs go in the post. The PDF is what gets saved to the file.
Okay. Sometimes I just make a separate cover. Sometimes I make a cover that is different, especially if it's just a one-page thing. I make a separate cover that's different because then people can't just look at it and copy it and be like, yeah, I can write all that down. There's not much in there.
Well, we all thought that at some point. The reality is people want convenience. And although, yes, they could just write it down, they actually would rather just have a printable that they could print out and stick in their prayer journal or whatever, right? Printables are handy because you can bring them. And especially if they're on their phone when they're visiting your site, they're not going to write down, right? But also in how you, the visual itself, sometimes the words, if you make them small enough, people can't really read them. And if it's multiple pages, you overlay them strategically, right? So, but realistically, people will still download it even if they can see what's on it.
Okay. All right. That's good to know.
But the thing is, with printables, it's important, especially if it's something that people might literally look for as a printable, like say a Bible reading plan, or I don't know, a list of scriptures or prayer, you know, whatever. People look for it in either printable or as whatever PDF. You want that physical page on the blog post with the right alt text and the descriptions, because that increases the chances of that physical image showing up in image results. So you want the image to look like, let me show you. Right. So again, I totally get it. Like I put all this work into it. I want them to join my email list. If I'm going to give it, no, just give them, because the bigger goal is getting more people to your site. Right. And so I'm just going to say May Bible reading plan. Let's just say, oh, not plan. So you see images pop up immediately, but if we go over here to image, people look for stuff like this because they want to print it out. They're not going to write down all 30 verses, right? Or whatever the thing is. So while this one's pretty, I'm going to click on that. Well, this one's going to Pinterest. This one goes to her website. So the image, if it's literally in the post, has the right description and alt text and all of that, can be in this row here. It can show up in image search results, even if your blog post itself never ranks in search results. So you can still get traffic to a post because of the image that's in it, even if like you have no idea what SEO is and never applied it to your the actual blog post. And so you click on this and it goes right to the page, which her site's not secure, but it goes right to it, right? And you see she has, so images are very important, printable images. We're talking about printables. So don't ever be afraid of somebody just like taking a screenshot. Hey, whatever, because the more that it's in there, the more chances it can show up for other people to actually click it and land on your site. And ultimately the traffic to your site is the bigger goal.
Okay, great advice. Thank you.
My new site,
I will do that.
All about printables. I'm already getting traffic to it. And a lot of that traffic is coming from the image results, even though the blog posts aren't ranking yet.
That's great. Okay, good. I'll go through and change some of those then.
Yeah, and anybody who has content that you can throw a printable in, list of scriptures, you know, reading plans, scripture writing plans, just do Bible study and study worksheets, prayer journal. Oh, well, like this is mine right here, this blue thing. I know I have some other ones in here. Calendars, prayer calendars. If you already have content like that on your site and you're still like trying to figure SEO out, just create a pretty printable and then go put it on the page. Like if it's 10 Bible verses to pray over whatever, or 10 Bible verses about whatever, just make a printable listing all those verses and put the title and then slap it in there as a printable take home for them, right? They're liable to pin it. So that increases. So when like Pinterest, you make like a regular pin, right? That's like, not that we spend a lot of time in Pinterest, but just some ways to maximize it for other people saving things. So like Bible reading plans, right? So you have your pin, the normal pin that you put in the post. It has like the spread, the mock-up, whatever. That's your normal pin. Also upload the actual image as a pin. Like here's my March reading plan as a pin. Here's some other ones, right? So these just give you extra things that can be pinned to drive more traffic from Pinterest in addition to the Google image searching.
Okay, so how do you go about pinning? I know you talk about pinning this and that. How do you go about doing that? Or do you have to sign up an account with Pinterest too?
Yeah, you'll need a Pinterest account. Just because, I mean, people can pin stuff even if you don't have an account, but it helps you to actually have a Pinterest account. It'll make your profile more productive. And then you just put the images in your post. So you put a pin in the post itself so that if a visitor is on that post and they want to save it to Pinterest, especially if it's a printable specific type of post, printables and Pinterest go together, right? So when they pin this, my pinnable image is not actually visible on the post, but when they click the Pinterest share button, this is the image I've given them to pin. So this is your normal pin image. And so you just embed that in the post. And then anybody who clicks that red button, this is the image they have and they can save it to their profile. Then you can manually upload the other stuff like these other ones by just uploading a pin right here directly and assigning it to the URL for that post. I don't want to go too in depth into that because that's like a whole lesson on how to use Pinterest. But the biggest thing is making sure every single blog post has an optimized pinnable image in it. My newest, go ahead, Kimberly.
Where in the post do you put the pinnable image? Do you put it at the bottom or?
If you're going to put it visible in the post, I would put it maybe 3/4 of the way down, just like above your last H2 heading or something, or just put it after your last paragraph. Don't ever put it at the top because that impacts the new web core vitals. So having heavy images at the first view is not a good practice. And plus, if someone's going to pin it, they're going to pin it when they're done reading it. So putting it right there at the very end of the post. When I do put them in there, which I don't really put them in there anymore, I would actually put them about 3/4 of the way down into the post, just between two paragraphs. Now all of mine are hidden. I use, you can use Tasty Pins. I have the Grow by Mediavine sharing plugin. And so it enables me to upload it here. So see, it's not actually in the post. Now these images are pinnable if they want to pin them, but that's not the image. No, actually they're not pinnable. I have it turned off. So this is my, again, you can use Tasty Pins, which is a plugin, or the Grow by Mediavine plugin is my social sharing. So my buttons for people to share stuff enables me to add these hidden images. Or you can just add it into the post. It really doesn't matter. I have mine hidden. I don't really have a reason. I just have them hidden. And then anybody comes to it and hits that button, they're only getting one image option, which is the one that you've created and optimized and everything for Pinterest.
I love, is that your new site?
Yeah, I played around with some colors on it yesterday. Now that I have a lot of content on it, I'm trying to dress it up. I still need to work on the homepage, but I'm working on some kids printables right now. So once I get about 5 things in that category, then I'm going to overhaul the homepage to not be the blog feed, to actually be like a static homepage.
I love that.
So yeah, I'm all in printables right now. And I mean, I'm getting some traffic from Pinterest for the new site. If it'll hop over there. I've been trying those idea pins out, which seem to be helping my profile a little bit. These are all pins from the new site. Different, see what I was saying? Like I have, so this was how to do a soap Bible study with printables. That's the pin that's in the post. And then this is another pin that I made and uploaded manually that goes to the same post, but it's literally just the picture of the soap method, right? So there's just different ways you can do it. But at the end of the day, you do want to make sure every single blog post has one pinnable image in it, at least one pinnable image. Okay, Jeannie left. Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't put too much time into Pinterest just because Pinterest is crazy. Like it changes so much that keeping up with it is almost impossible. And you get way more for the amount of time that you invest in Pinterest. What you get back is this much. What amount of time you invest in learning and implementing SEO for content, what you get back will multiply and multiply and multiply, right? So with SEO, once it takes off, every month you'll have more traffic than the month before. With Pinterest, you eventually hit a plateau and you don't go any higher. You stay consistent or you drop altogether because Pinterest changes everything about Pinterest. You don't really see that as much within organic SEO. You will see some drops here and there when they make major updates, but they're very few and far between. The biggest thing right now with SEO though is ensuring that your website is passing the Web Core Vitals. If you can't pass Web Core Vitals, no amount of SEO is going to help you. So ensuring that your website is up to speed on that is definitely something that you want to kind of prioritize. Okay. Man, y'all are easy on me this week. What's up with that? I usually have tons of questions.
Giving you a little break today.
See, when you give me a break, then my brain goes mush and y'all got to keep me on my toes.
And I had a old theme. I wasn't trying to mute it because I got a lot of noise going on in the background, but I had an old theme that I had purchased before for WordPress. But the seller is saying that they have to be able to leave for licenses purposes. You have to leave credit at the bottom of your WordPress site for them to have a link on there. Is that valid?
If you paid for it, then no. If you have a free theme, then yeah, that could be a condition of it being free. But
no, I paid for it.
Yeah. What is the theme?
It's from Blog Pixie. It's called Sasha Rose.
Yeah, part of paying for something, it's just like with WordPress.com. When you're on the free WordPress, literally there's WordPress written all over it, even in your name. When you pay for their upgraded plan, the paid one, it enables you to remove the web WordPress, words and stuff from it. So I have never heard of a company doing that for something that you pay for. When you pay for it, it's yours. Like, I don't know. I would say no thanks.
Yeah, I hadn't heard that before either. So I was just kind of like, I was not okay with doing that. So I was just like, should I just go with another theme or,
Is this the site you have live right now?
Or? This is it's a site. It's I'm moving over to WordPress. So I was like, but I had purchased a theme prior. So I was just like, I was going to use it because I had previously purchased it.
Yeah. If you've purchased it and they're telling you must leave their clickable link in the footer, that would be a big flag for me.
Okay.
Some people do leave it in just because. Some people because I'm a blogging blogger, so I don't have it in mind, but like my theme is Astra. So I might be powered by Astra and then make that link clickable to Astra, but embed my affiliate link in it. So that would encourage people to buy the theme I'm using and I can make a commission on it. But if they're just making you do it for something you've already paid for, that's not cool.
Okay.
I would also, whenever you do decide on a theme, before you buy it, and I wouldn't ask the developers because they're going to lie because they want you to buy their stuff. Because web core vitals are so important right now, not all themes are equal. And some themes back in the day were okay, but they're no longer able to pass the web core vitals. So I would ask if anyone else, like ask in other groups, or if they have a group for their theme or whatever, how are y'all doing with web core vitals with this theme? Because I've seen people recently buy new themes that weren't able to pass them, and then they had to go buy another theme.
Okay. I was like, do you have any lists or suggestions? I just like something kind of feminine. So I was trying to look through all of the many things that's out there.
Well, the two that I highly recommend, Astra and Cadence, but those are like builders, sort of. They're not like Divi. Don't go Divi. But they could be a little intimidating because you got to kind of build it out. But I know with Cadence, Restored 316s, which is what I used to use on the Genesis framework, they're I'm not gonna lie, they're a little expensive now with the Cadence framework. But Cadence and Astra are both very, very lightweight, and everybody that's transferred over to them has had no problem with passing the web core vitals. But with Restored 316, here, I mean, this is just one company. I like them because they're a Christian company, but Restored 316 designs. So they've recently updated to include Cadence, but again, they are pricey, but they're very feminine and very easily customizable. Actually, Joyce has one of their themes, not Cadence, but on the Genesis framework. But yours is passing, I think, right? Mm-hmm. Hold on. I think you've been able to pass even on their Genesis framework.
I still need to get in there and change that WordPress optimizer, though. Take that off of there.
Yeah, we need to get the SiteGround optimizer, get rid of that, and install WP Rocket. I'm pretty sure your stuff was passing. So anyway, this is a company I highly recommend. Their Cadence themes are more expensive than their child themes, which is the Genesis. But you see, they're real pretty, real feminine. I've used two of theirs in the past. I guess they're not doing their refined theme anymore. I don't see it on here. That's the one that Joyce has. Oh, they have it in.
I have their refined theme. My website is on their refined theme. And I'm scared because they sent a thing out saying that you can switch it over to Cadence from Genesis, but I don't know if I can do that. So I haven't even attempted to switch it.
Yeah, since you're in the boot camp, later on in the course, if you want to do that, I can help you. It's a little bit of it's recommended that you have a staging ground set up, but if your site's not currently getting much traffic, then it's not that big of a deal. Like my site's getting like 100,000 visits a month, so I didn't want to mess anything up. So I set it up in a staging area and overrode it. But if your site's not really getting much traffic, it's actually pretty simple to put one on top of the other and then go in and tweak it. So we can totally like do that if you want to do it. But you don't have to.
I could probably
get your site to passing the web core vitals with the Genesis. And which is mainly making sure you have like WP Rocket, you have an image optimizer. Hers, she has the SiteGround plugin, which is what's causing some of this stuff. So we want to get rid of that. So yeah, I can totally help you with it. It's no problem.
So things like that we'll cover when we get to that portion of the text, or is this something that we have to like kind of schedule a one-on-one with you?
Yeah, we don't go through this as part of the course. So if somebody needs help with it, we'll just schedule a one-on-one while y'all.
But you recommend the Cadence over the Genesis.
Well, I have not used Cadence myself because I'm using Astra. I know a lot of people that are using it and they love it. It's very similar to Astra. And I love Restored 316. That's what I always use before I switch to Astra. And so that's the only reason I do recommend it, because they are using it, is what I'm saying. In other words, Astra by itself, Astra Pro, you kind of have to build each of these sections out. So sometimes it can be intimidating to build it from the ground up, whereas this already has some spot holders and you just go in and edit them. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
So my site was on Refine Theme before. So when I installed Astra, it installed it on top of the spots already there. And then I just had to make some minor adjustments. My new site, the Bible Study Printables, I had to build it from the ground up. And that's why it looks so basic, because there were no spots already, like placeholders weren't there. I had to create the placeholders. And so that's the biggest difference. So with theirs, it is the cadence framework, but they've already created the space holders, if you will. And so that's the reason. Again, they're a Christian-based company. Lonnie is amazing. They have the best technical support of any theme company I've ever dealt with. Literally, if you can't figure out how to do something, you just send them a tech ticket and Lonnie will respond to you almost like immediately. And she will give you the CSS code and tell you exactly where to put it to fix and change whatever you need to change. And so because of that, I have always been a fan of Restored 316. And now that they are offering it under Cadence, if they were doing Astra, then great, because I use Astra, but they've chosen Cadence. Again, the two are very, very similar. They have some minor differences, but overall they're similar. So, but like I said, Joyce is using the Genesis framework and she's passing. So you don't have to go with Cadence. But if you're looking for something feminine that's kind of already designed, I would say Restored 316 would be a good way to go.
Okay, perfect. I'll take a look at it.
Okay. Okay, Dixie left. Okay. Trying to think who has. This site is built on Cadence. She just converted from Squarespace. I think she said she's using Cadence. Yeah. Pray with, this one is on Cadence. So again, it's different customizations, but these were built kind of from the ground up. Ladies Drawing Nice, she had her old website to kind of look at as she was building out the placeholders. So, but again, Restored 316, all of their themes are very feminine in nature and have a lot of different, especially because you're offering like other stuff just besides blogging. Like you're going to have coaching and different things.
Yes.
Some of these are designed. So I would kind of look through each one to see some of the different things that they offer, or not offer, but each theme has a little difference, right?
Right.
Which one might be the best for what your needs are. And everything that shows, like you don't have to use everything. These are just placeholders. You can totally remove them if they're not something that you need.
Okay, because I was going with the approach, I think, from our initial discussion, like when I first joined one of these Friday talks, was to leave the coaching kind of separate because it was under my name, and then to do the blog on a
different domain. Well, but the thing is, once you buy the theme, you have it. You can use it for sites and just use the elements that you need for each site. So you
gotcha.
Or you can use it on as many sites as you own, and each one can look differently depending on the elements of it that you utilize.
Okay.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
It really is.
Yep. Okay. Close all of this here. Okay. All right. What else do we have? That's really all. I mean, I can't stress enough Web Core Vitals. I put mine off, like it really officially hit in June. They'd been telling us it was coming, and I kept disregarding the messages from Google. And that with the latest Google update on top of the Web Core Vitals, my stuff's passing now, but like I'm making up now. I've lost about 20,000 sessions a month since June, but it's back on the up. So take that as a kind of a warning that if you cannot pass them, Google will not be nice to you. So definitely want to get that under control.
Can I get back with you next week sometime?
Yeah, I should be here Monday. Got somebody coming over they're redoing my shower, but that's like on the opposite side of the house. So just message me Monday morning. I had my doctor's appointment. I had a dentist appointment this past Monday. And so I just made a day of errands since I was already out. But yeah, just get me like 8 or 9 on Monday morning, shoot me a message, and we should be able to do it that time. And then, all right, anything else? Going once, going twice. So
okay, one more question, Leanne. So I was like, I know you've already told me to kind of, wait for some things after we get started. So I know that, but I'm trying to get like some of the framework done so that when you hit it in class, I'm a hands-on learner. So I do better if I'm doing it while you're teaching it to me. So if is there any things like up front that I need to do? Because like if I go with this restored theme, most things are in place, right? That I would need, right? When we get to that part in class.
Yeah, when you install the theme, like all the placeholders are there. You just have to go in and take out what you don't need and edit to make it, because it's going to have images. You don't want to use their images. You want your own images. It'll have words. So you got to put your word, right? But the framework is there. Yes. It looks just like it does when you see it on the website. So now you got to go in and edit it to be your stuff. That's what I'm saying. But we can just schedule a con. Literally, we can like set. I mean, I did Joyce's for her just because I had the same theme and I could really do it with my eyes closed. But it won't take us long to get it, or for me at least, to show you how to adjust it the way you want it.
Okay.
And then if you get to parts that you're like, okay, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this, and we just zoom again.
Okay. Okay, perfect.
If you decide to go with 316, let me know. I do have an affiliate link for them.
Yeah, I probably will, because I looked at it before based off of something I saw in your group. So if you want to send me your affiliate link.
Yeah, let me grab that really quick. Affiliate. And then what are we doing? Oh, manage. Restore. Get links. Okay, I'm going to put it, what did I just do? Actually, I'll send it to you in Messenger.
Okay.
There we go. Okay, that should take you like to their homepage. Okay, but yeah, so whenever you're ready to install it, just let me know if you want to like do it via Zoom. You don't have to wait till a certain part of the course. If you're ready to do it, just tell me when and we'll do it.
Okay, we'll do.
All right, anything else? Going once, going twice and a half, just in case Jamil has one last thing. All right, well, you guys have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you all. I'll be sending the boot camp email out here shortly. So otherwise, I'll see everyone next week.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Have a good weekend. Bye.